Hello everyone, welcome to Cole's Dragon Age Headcanon, I guess. Not really sure what to call this. I'm Cole, and I'm here to explain why I chose what I did in the inconveniently named quest, Wicked Eyes and Wicked Hearts. The first time I played through the game, I hadn't yet read The Masked Empire, and so a public truce between all three parties seemed like the best choice at the time. Get them to work together for the good of the Empire. However, after reading The Masked Empire, I think the best choice is to reconcile Celene and Briala. Now, hear me out. Selene did a monumentally horrible thing, but she still loved Briala. If you haven't read it, the short version is that when they were young, Selene murdered Briala's parents as part of her ascension to the throne. She never told Briala about this, she even tried to be there for her after it happened, but there it is. It was cruel and terrible and never should have happened. But Orlais is a place where that sort of thing is commonplace. That does not excuse what she did, at all, not in the least. But you have to recognize that Selene grew up in that culture. She never knew anything different. At the time, she was still young and would have thought this kind of thing was just the way things were. Her crime was horrendous, but she alone should not be blamed for it. In the years she spent as Empress, she accomplished great things in the name of peace, securing better relations with Ferelden, allowing elves into the University of Orlais, and much more. She is a great Empress. Not the best person, she straight up murdered her lover's parents, but a good Empress, a woman of peace. And if we compare this to Gaspard, let's be real here. In the Masked Empire, he was malicious. It wasn't so obvious in the game, but in the book, there was a scene where Selene broke down in tears when she learned that Gaspard knew about her love affair with Briala, and then he rubbed it in her face. He then tricked her by basically causing an uprising in the alienage, which he knew Selene would have no choice but to crush, and then ambushed her on the road. She and her group wandered for days where all sorts of adventure went down, but the point is that Gaspard disgraced her in order to justify his war for the throne. In the game, Gaspard straight up admits to wanting to march to war with Ferelden and Navarra. That's bad for a whole bunch of reasons. Not only would that undo all the good work Selene has done to secure peaceful relations, but it also demonstrates that he's a military-minded person who would undoubtedly cause more problems within Orlais' borders. As for Briala, she has good ideas, but she doesn't realize that dramatic reforms can't happen as quickly as she wants. If, in a very short time frame, the elves of Orlais gain much more power, things would not go over well at all with the nobility that has been set in their ways for centuries. Briala needs Selene to A, keep things at a safe pace, and B, to placate those who distrust the elves. Selene is a beloved ruler, and she can convince many people to open their minds. She's already done a lot in that regard. Man, am I overthinking this. Okay. So Selene alone, after all this stuff, would not leave the Empire in a good state. All those years she spent vying for peace were largely due to Briala being there to remind her of the kind of ruler and woman she wants to be. Also, to keep her happy, and happiness generally leads to better decisions. I've heard the argument that Selene and Briala were toxic together, and I honestly don't think so. Quite the opposite. I think they kept each other in line. Selene can give Briala what she wants without sacrificing the stability of Orlais, and Briala reminds Selene of the kind of woman she wants to be, for her. They are in love. Hell, Selene kept Briala's locket. There was no political reason to do that. On the contrary, if anyone had found that, it would have severely hurt Selene's reputation, and in a lot of Briala's actions and even some correspondence, you see that she doesn't actually want to hurt Selene. Gaspard would bring war as emperor. Briala ruling through him would be chaotic. Selene ruling alone isn't enough, and a public truce is only temporary. I think, in spite of what Selene did, Briala still loves her, and Selene certainly regrets every bit of pain she caused Briala. I truly think that reconciliation is the best choice, as it means Selene and Briala will be happier, the elves will see far less oppression, and Orlais will be stronger for it. I do feel bad about what happens to Gaspard, but there's not a lot of wiggle room there. And he was kind of a dick. Also, this is just my opinion about a fictional world and should not be taken as anything more than that. Alright, so that about wraps this up. Be sure to leave a comment if you have your own opinion on this decision, or if there are any others you'd want to see covered. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Dareth Shiral.